Thank you guys for tuning in. You're watching TOJ. I'm your host, Rico Suave. I want to talk about this Libyan slave trade crisis that's been basically going on for years. But I guess somebody with a camera was brave enough to, or evil enough, maybe, to put this out there. I watched a video on YouTube, as a matter of fact, maybe a couple of days ago. But the video was like almost a year and a half old. So the fact that it's being brought to the public now is like too little, too late. But these guys who have been enslaved in Libya, I'm going to tell you guys, according to the video, I watched a couple of interviews of the people who were enslaved, and even some of the videos from the guys who were enslaving and selling these Africans, on the market. And these are Nigerians. From what the slaves told the guy doing the interview, these are Nigerians escaping Nigeria. So I want to say, before I get too into the video, to go to artbyrico.com. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I make a living. ARTBYRICCO. My name is Rico, but it's Rico with two C's. Artbyrico.com. That it was a guy from Britain, like BBC. He did the video. He some kind of, how these British guys be. I'm on location with the leader of the tribe, and the leader of the tribe was kidnapped, and this is what he has to say. And for some reason, the guys with the machine guns always like let this one random dude go in there with a camera crew, and the camera crew's always like, they're scared for their lives or whatever. And I'm kind of glad they did it. But what happened was he interviewed some of the prostitutes, some of the girls who was in like a sex slave camp, and interviewed some men who were living in these little, I guess they were like concentrate. I don't want. I was trying to say word concentration camps, but I guess is when you get caught by immigration, whatever the Libyan version of immigration camps are. This is where these guys were held at. So a couple of the brothers who they interviewed was basically saying that they would save up money, any kind of money, and they would pay. And it took a month to cross over the desert to get to. They wanted to go to London or somewhere in Europe, some European. One guy said he wanted to go to Italy. This is one of the slaves, one of the prisoners. He said he wanted to just escape Nigeria so bad that he would risk with a bunch of the other refugees, just like in the truck with like 20 dudes in a truck. And the Mexicans have the same issue with these guys they call the coyotes. And the coyotes would I guess bring them to the border of the United States and just like cut them loose. But when they cut them loose, they still got to trek across, like, I guess New Mexico desert and deserts of California, to get where they going, And I guess somebody will meet them and they'll get in the truck and drive off. But you have border patrol, border security, the Minutemen, and some volunteers will catch these Mexicans. But for the Nigerians, there's not a system like that. The guys who catch them are slave traders. And because these guys are crossing, I guess I can't say the word illegally, but since they're crossing the desert at night and it's freezing cold, they have very little supplies. When they showed the camps where these guys were held at, it was 2 toilets for 400 guys. 2 toilets for 400 dudes. And it was overloaded with shit. The people who actually were security guards of these camps was so untrained that they were just like shooting guys at random, because they had no protocol for stopping guys from complaining. You complain, I'm going to shoot you, pow. And they even interviewed some of the guards, and some of the guards was like, speaking to an interpreter, he was like, well, they just gave us guns and told us, good luck, watch these guys, don't let them leave. That was basically what they were told. So it wound up being where the places where these guys were being held were no food. It was a slice of cheese, some bread, and a cup of tea. That was their breakfast. And let me rephrase. That was their meal for the entire day. And I remember watching when the guy with the cheese, the bread, and the water, when he would come to give them the food, it was like when you see the little Ethiopian kids, like in old videos, them fighting over a bag of rice. I mean, you can see the savagery, if you want to call it that. Like your survival instinct kicks in, and these guys, all the brotherhood or whatever you want to call it, completely went out the window. And these dudes living in some deplorable conditions. So, to see that there's the way this happened, or how Libya got to this point. Obama and Hillary Clinton went in there to do what they call regime change. You know what that means. He had resources, they wanted it. So they went in there and they got Muammar Gaddafi, and they set him up to get killed, set him to get assassinated, and left the country without any type of ruling government. Now they got Boko Haram. They're a part of it. You have all these different factions in a power vacuum. And these guys are just like doing whatever it takes to make ends meet. In fact, some of the guys who actually are trading slaves used to be like regular store owners. And the only way these guys can make a living is to trade the Nigerians who they catch as trying to escape. But the Nigerians, they have to pass through Libya to get to, like, I guess England or some European country, wherever the fuck they going to. But they got to pass through Libya to get there. So when they took Gaddafi out of power, they left the country unattended without a ruling, and that's the odd thing about it. Usually when America, and Obama was supposed to be one of these really big thinkers or whatever, when a country like, I guess us, when we do some kind of takeover, hostile takeover, regime change, we always leave some kind of puppet or whatever to take to like a figurehead or whatever. But they didn't leave nobody in place. But there's now, they got all these political and these religious leaders that's in Libya now, and the end result is what you got. You got this awful slave trade going on, and these really these guys, man, who just like they're hurt. I mean, these men feeling pain. They haven't seen their daughters or their mothers, and some men even die in a camp, just waiting for ransom payments to come through, which never come through, because when you broke and you come from nothing, you're not gonna get blood from a turnip. So it's gonna take something, a lot of soul searching, and there's a lot of blame to go around. But the people who are to blame, there's not gonna be any karma or any kind of justice for those who put Gaddafi out of power and left the other Africans there to suffer under the boot of these radical people that's out there. And it's just a matter of survival at this point. It's not even a matter of these guys selling slaves out of hatred for black people. They're doing it for survival, and maybe it may be some hatred, but I'm looking at some videos where there's a guy completely set on fire. Just they set him alive. I mean, they set his body on fire alive and watched him burn to a crisp. And I don't think anybody, not the average American, but I went on a live leak and I saw a lifeless human being who just actually died from no food. I mean, he just lost the will to stay alive. I've seen videos where they set this guy on fire, and I actually watched the entire video, 8 minutes long, from when he started alive to when his clothes burnt off of him, to where his stomach exploded, up to the point he actually died. I watched the whole video. And I think when people hear Libyan slave trade, they don't really have what it take to watch the gruesome, the ghastly treatment of these guys and these women and the little kids. They kill little children. I mean, kids my kids' size. They kill these kids, man, because there's not enough resources or food to take care of them. And the guys who are in the process of selling them, if nobody buys the kids, or the kids are already sick when the enslavers catch them, they kill them. Who wants to buy a sick kid? So unfortunately, you know how this is going to end. The United Nations are not moving fast enough. They're not even I don't think they even see any like, I'm not gonna say the word profit, but there's no, I guess, value, I guess, in like outside of like this feel good, like just feel good act. There's no reciprocity. I think is what is right what I'm looking for. There's no reciprocity for these other countries um, to get involved, and I hate that. You know, I hate to be somebody on my end of the world powerless to help somebody. You know, and nobody with the might loves to see a bullying somebody and have their hands tied and not be able to jump in or intervene. So, you know, and also it goes, organ harvesting is a big trade over there in Libya. A lot of those guys are as brutal and as barbaric as some of the acts are. A lot of those guys have money and they're very well funded. And a lot of people who are funding these guys got medical needs, you know, human corneas, kidneys, you know, heart transplants and all of that. So you got some people, you know, with no names who will never get missed, you know, who won't be missed, you know, who don't have, you know, Facebook accounts or, you know, a basic following or anything to where anybody would know would miss them if they came up missing, so to speak. So it's nothing for somebody to take these guys, you know, organs and sell them on the black market because you never see them. Who's, you know, so it's just one of them things where, you know, it's a quagmire. I'm not happy about it, and I don't like the slow moving process, and I hate that the fact that, you know, we got to depend on somebody like a Donald Trump to come in and say, well, I'm gonna go, you know, to Africa and save these black people from Libyans who technically are Africans also. So, you know, I don't know, man. It's just something I'm gonna be following the efforts of all these different countries and see what's going to happen. Anyway, those are my thoughts and opinions on this Libyan slave trade. It's just it's a mess. It's a bad mess that's a result of Obama and Hillary Clinton taking Muammar Gaddafi out of power. Anyway, until next time, take care of yourself and each other.